This is Ownah, and she's a nomad. Armed with a flute that houses an ancient and mysterious spirit that can control and inhabit fried chicken, she sets out on a journey to discover herself and live the nomadic lifestyle. And while she stars in her own web series that I've been developing for the past couple of years, I thought it'd be fun to test out what she would look like in several different art styles from some of my favorite shows of Cartoon Network. Hi, my name is Nick, but you can call me Goggle, and today I'll be illustrating Ownah, the fried chicken nomad, in several Cartoon Network art styles. Starting off with OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. So when stylizing a character, I usually like to keep two things in mind. One, I like to make sure that the character is still readable and all of their defining features are still at play. And two, I like to make sure that when I'm stylizing them, I'm staying as consistent with the style itself and use multiple frames of reference to not just use sort of like a base and call it a day, and to make the character feel as believable in that style, in that universe as possible. So for Ownah, beyond just using KO, I used other characters from the show like Fink and Dendy to get the general shape of her outfit and her height and the proportions of like her head, body, and legs, and even use other characters like Red Action to get her bangs, which was by far the trickiest decision when drawing this character in this style. I also went ahead and I made the teeth just sort of one piece as opposed to, the individual tooth drawn, because that was more consistent with the style. The individual teeth was sort of more consistent with Adventure Time, but that's a style for another day. I also went ahead and kept the line art sort of thin, but still sort of free-flowing, so I used the G pen. And as for her vest itself, I kept the detail down to a minimum and sort of simplified the triangular shape, since I was also sort of consistent with the style. And as I finished coloring everything off and stuff, she turned out pretty great in my opinion. So this is Ownah in the OKKO art style. I won't bore you too much, and we will move on to the next one, which is Ed, Edd n Eddy. Drawing in the Ed, Edd n Eddy art style was by far the easiest and sort of smoothest, seeing as sporadic the art style is, and how sort of just free-flowing and inconsistent the art style itself is. So I pretty much streamlined right through it, ended up using the acrylic brush since it gave me the sort of thick and thin variations of the line art, and it just being sort of just sporadic, free-flowing. You don't really have to worry about the lines connecting. You can have the lines overlap, cross, and sort of break all of the traditional norms of most art styles, especially in animation. And all in all, it was a very easy and simple process to draw her. The only thing that I really sort of had an issue with and fixed in post actually was her eyes. I had them eventually be over the bangs and stuff, since her character design was a little less readable for my liking. And here we go, Ownah in the Ed, Edd n Eddy art style. And right up next we have the Powerpuff Girls. So apart from this general design being way more demanding than the others in terms of interpreting Ownah in the Powerpuff Girls art style, I feel it also best represents the sort of criteria that I had laid out, and that I wanted Ownah to feel like she was an actual character in the universe of the Powerpuff Girls. And so I didn't want to just use the Powerpuff Girls themselves as a base. I wanted to sort of interpret her as a human character. So I ended up using Robin and Princess to really heavily influence the general design of Ownah, and also wanted to maintain her hair and stuff as well. So I made sure that the bangs didn't take up too much space and didn't really separate too far away as most characters' hair did. And then I also wanted to make sure that the front and the back of her hair didn't connect, which was also something that was consistent with the style. And apart from her shirt and her feet, the overall style was of course akin to that of the human characters. And then as I'm also finishing it up and stuff in post, one other change that I made was to make the flying effect appear on the chicken that is attached to her hat, which is something in universe of her, and just want to sort of maintain that consistency of her character as well as still being in that style. I finished coloring and stuff and changed the color scheme of her shirt to match her own, while also still sort of keeping it with the Powerpuff Girls shirt themselves. And all in all, this is what she would look like. And to end things off, Ownah's final design will be from Ben 10 Omniverse. This design was a lot of fun to draw, and comparing it to the other entries and even the original art style of Ownah, it's kind of funny to see the sort of juxtaposition in the proportions and height of the character, because despite her being depicted way taller than even the other entries, they all maintain the same age range of Ownah, and it was overall a lot of fun. I did have a bit of trouble when drawing the line art. I'm more of a thicker line art kind of person, so drawing thinner line art was a bit of a challenge, but luckily the sort of sharp angles of the style kind of helped with that and made it a little easier, and so it was smooth sailing for the most part. I pretty much used just exclusively Ben and Gwen for the design, seeing as it was kind of easy all the way through. And all in all, this is what Ownah would look like in the Omniverse art style. This was a lot of fun to draw all of these styles, and so we can finally conclude everything. Thank you for stopping by, and if you liked what you saw, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more content in the future. I don't know when Ownah the Fried Chicken Nomad will release on webcomic platforms all around, but I do hope for an early to mid 2025 release. In the meantime, you could also check out my currently running webtoon series that is currently on a small hiatus called Life of a High School Slime. You can see the links down below in the description and in my bio on the platforms Webtoons, Tapas, Namikami, Fables, and Global Comics. Until next time, I am Nick, but you can call me Goggle. Take care.